Sláinte, how do you do, buckaroos, and how the heck are you? I am Tom the Beer Whisperer, at least for the purposes of this video. Anyway, trying to get things set up here. That my angle changed on me. Anyways, I digress. How the heck are you, man? Let me try to get something fixed real quick, and then I'll show you what I got here. Let me adjust that real fast. Out of here. There we go. Anyways, so here's what I got going on. Let me cover that one up. We're going to get to this one first. I've got the Knob Creek Smoked Maple Whiskey at 90 proof. And here's one I just came up with the other day. It is, what we're going to call it anyway, a pecan pie old fashioned. So I'm using the smoked maple bourbon. I used brown sugar, bourbon vanilla, and pecan simple syrup. Damn flies. They're never here until I turn the hit play button, and they're like they can tell. Little bastards. Anyway, let's launch you. I was concerned that it might be too sweet, given this bourbon is rather sweet, but it actually works. I mentioned the bourbon. I mentioned the simple syrup. I did forget to mention that I use cardamom bitters in it, and that spice really helps balance it out. But the other side of that is you don't need much simple syrup, right? We might, I do about 2.5 ounces of bourbon, about 3/4 ounce simple syrup, because you've got an already sweet bourbon, but you do want some of those flavors in there. Because believe it or not, I use the brown sugar, the bourbon vanilla, but those pecan notes come through nicely as well. And I basically steeped them like tea, right? Anytime I add a specialty ingredient, I melt the sugar, get that all done, and then I add that specialty ingredient and just let it steep. The longer I let it sit in there, the more flavor will impart into that simple syrup. You don't need to boil again. Or I don't anyway, because I find I get plenty of flavor there. Damn, that's nice. I must have hit something there, but there we go. I accidentally hit a button when I was set. Sometimes shit happens. Sometimes, man, just can't tell. Oh, man, that is a really nice cocktail, though. I really enjoy it. I ought to try it smoked. I haven't done that yet, but yeah, I'm thinking because it's a smoked maple whiskey, so I didn't want to add too much, but you have a little additional smoke. And I'll be honest, it is kind of a nice presentation, but it is a little bit of a dog and pony show, right? The smoked element. But if folks like it, folks like it. Oh. It'd be a nice, digestif, right? That after dinner drink or dessert drink. If you're going to have a cigar, if you're into such things, I'm not anymore. There was a time when I did, but I was never a cigarette smoker. But I used to, smoke a cigar about 3, 4 times a year. You run the holidays, but I had to give that up a while back. And it's just extra money I didn't need to spend, right? I'd rather spend it on this than that one extra thing. But it would be a good cocktail for that. Let's just say. There are several places in town to get some nice cocktails. I don't get out much to do that sort of thing, to be honest with you, because I just don't get out a whole lot anymore, and I don't typically order a lot of cocktails out. But there are a few places I probably need to try, just for product knowledge, right? I just need to know what else is out there compared to what I offer folks where I work, because I'm coming from it from a different angle. Well, you got folks that went through school, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that because I probably would have had you know, anyway, had I taken a different path many years ago, I probably would have. But I come from the gig from more of a school of hard knocks, right? Just life training, and not necessarily school training. So I come at the cocktails from a different angle. I feel, especially when I see other recipes, I say, okay. And I do try to lean towards the simpler side. The simpler, the better. The less ingredients, the better. I'm not one that's ever going to do these fruit juice liqueur cocktails that just get a little convoluted. I'm all about simplicity because the classic cocktails were simple for a reason. The old fashioned, the Manhattan, the martini, a classic highball. These drinks were made simple for a reason because simple is better. You can add a whole bunch of stuff, but it just doesn't need to be. And a lot of those cocktails are just to hide the liquor, and that kind of defeats the purpose of the cocktail, in my opinion, because of the original cocktails weren't meant to hide the liquor; they were meant to showcase it. The martini's a great example of that, but the old fashioned and the Manhattan exemplify that as well. Some refer to them as liquor forward or whiskey forward or booze forward cocktails, but they are the classics for a reason. And again, I mean, I'm not begrudging those that like those 100 ingredient cocktails or don't want to taste the liquor, but I'm all about tasting the liquor, right? I want to I want to buy a good product. I want to taste that product. I don't want it hid. I want to know what I'm drinking. Uh, so I'm looking for that reason again. That's one reason I'm looking forward to the vacation is so I can try things that I don't usually do. Because my mindset is a little different when I'm on vacation, right? I'm gonna have some of those cocktails that I wouldn't order if I was in town. So I'm on vacation. I'm in a different place. I'm trying new things, and there's a handful of distilleries out there. I'm looking forward to trying. I don't know how many I'll get to, but I hope to at least get to two or three. I know I won't hit all of them. Now, that's not even going to be a goal. I just want to hit the ones that I can. Because I don't want to be disappointed if I can't get to any of them. Because sometimes things you plan things, but sometimes things come up, and you can't get disappointed because you missed something. Because be grateful for the places you got to go to or the things you got to do. Don't focus on what you didn't. Focus on what you did. That's kind of where I want to be for this particular vacation, anyway. Jesus, man, these flies are relentless. They weren't bad out here when I first came out here, but now they're just hovering, man. I think flies are like women. They can sense a man having a good time and want to put a stop to that. Don't tell my wife I said that. Don't tell my wife, man. Anyway, I digress. All right, let's try cocktail number two. And this one, I'm going to apologize right up front for, especially to the man that gave me this whiskey. Damon, I appreciate it. And I have drank most of this bottle neat. I've gotten some left here, as you can see. But I was curious how this particular whiskey would be in that exact same cocktail. So I use this Rocktown 13th anniversary, the Leaky One sherry cask peated single malt whiskey, distilled from malt mash, aged 18 months in used bourbon, 42 months in an ex sherry barrel. So there you go. But I was curious how it would react with the same cocktail. So I used this whiskey at a cask proof there at 56.3 with about an ounce of the simple syrup and some cardamom bitters and sláinte. Oh wow! 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 I'm more of an Irish single malt Irish whiskey or an American single malt drinker than I am Scotch. But I do enjoy a good Scotch single malt. But I've never been big on heavily peated whiskeys. This one is very good, though. What's interesting about this is again, I've added that ounce of simple syrup, and you really feel those smoke notes. I almost like this cocktail better because it is less sweet and more smoky. Now, normally I would typically use a whiskey like this and a cocktail like this, but usually curiosity gets the best of me to at least try it once. And when I had the idea, I thought maybe that extra smoke would balance the sweetness, and it really does, man. It's really surprising. This is absolutely delicious. God, these flies are making me nutso today. I can't hit hard because my computer my camera's up there. Hey, how you doing? I'm gonna post your comment there. If you'd like to tell me what you're drinking, you can. Again, I'll run through what I just finished. The Knob Creek Smoke Bay. I finished a pecan pie old fashioned using the Knob Creek smoked maple whiskey at 90 proof. It's this particular whiskey, 1 ounce of my homemade house made simple syrup using brown sugar, bourbon vanilla, and pecans. But now I'm having the same cocktail with this different whiskey. It's the 13th anniversary Rocktown, the Leaky One, a sherry cask peated single malt whiskey. And I will admit it's a whiskey that probably should be drank neat. And up until this cocktail, that's how I drank it. But I just had an idea that it would work because of that smoke, and it really does. I mean, it's really delicious. One of the distilleries I'm hoping to hit does a thieved old fashioned where they take the whiskey right out of that whiskey, right, use the whiskey thief to pull it right out of the barrel to make the old fashioned. Excuse me. I mean, that's just next level to pull it right. Use the thief, pull it straight out of the barrel. So I'm dying to try that. I'm really more of a Manhattan guy, but the old fashioned seems to be the cocktail that everybody has these days. And because I've really been putting a lot of time and effort into kind of perfecting the cocktail or making different variations of, yeah, I'm curious to try that. But if I can find Manhattans out there, I'm going to be drinking those too. Especially since we're going to be it's going to be right at the beginning of fall, so Manhattan's really going to start hitting. Oh, I usually fat wash my rye for whatever works for you. Use whatever method you need to. I do a lot of different things as I develop different variations for my for where I work. But whatever works, whatever gives you the flavor you desire, it's good. I just tell folks, don't be afraid to experiment. I mean, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Try again. But I keep trying different things, and most of them have worked. Good Lord. The flies are driving me crazy. They're not usually this bad, man. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom. Thanks for tuning in the day after Labor Day, but I am off today, so we'll skip to the end. We'll say all around good guys, Slancha.